Alright. What's up, everybody? We are here with the grand finale of this last week's EPT EU Championship. I guess calling it a championship sounds a bit wrong. It's not really the right word for a weekly cup, but it is the grand finals of the weekly cup. There is, of course, 400 USD on the line, EPT points to get that seeding into the World Championship and all the rest of it. We've got Liquid Clem down here in the bottom left side, a monster of this challenge. And he's going to be going double gas on Inside Out in map 1 up against MaxPax, the beast that just will not be stopped, the online god. He has been winning so many of these cups recently, and honestly, it feels like, because Reyna hasn't been playing, and he's been just doing so well versus Hero Marine recently, I think Clem is one of the few obstacles standing in MaxPax's way of just cleaning up every single European cup. Even the North American cups, it's only been the occasional victory of someone like, I think, Beyond got the better of him in the semi-finals on NA this last week. But other than that, it's been kind of like MaxPax just dominating everybody, smashing through. I feel like for a few weeks, I was really complaining that his PVT was way too predictable and safe. He was always going Cybercore before Nexus, always probe scouting, always getting a shield battery in his main. And I felt like, you know, there's no edge here. There's no sharp edge. It's way too conservative. But in the last few weeks, he's actually just been crushing face in this matchup especially. So I really want to see what MaxPax brings for us here. I don't think he lost a single map leading up to this point. Taking down a lot of opponents. And we'll see how he goes. Command Center on the high ground behind this for Clem. Good choice there. The probe's going to come back in, and it's going to see that early reactor. Now, the early reactor tells you your opponent's not going to Reapers and a Hellion. He's also definitely not playing 2-Rax Reaper as well. So this is a very good scout. That 2-Rax Reaper getting very popular. It looks like he'd already seen the factory. So Clem, I guess, didn't hide that factory earlier on at all. Is what it is. And a Stargate coming down for MaxPax. Now, MaxPax a little supply blocked there, interestingly enough, just for a moment. But the Nexus does finish. I guess that's just the way it goes with a Nexus opening. One Adept across the map. The Reaper there dodges it. Another Adept looking like he wants to intercept the Reaper, but the Reaper's going to go around the right side of the map. And he really would like to force Clem to show his hand. We can see that mule that Clem pulled off, making sure it doesn't accidentally mine extra minerals that it won't be able to return home before it expires. Chrono boosting the probes coming out, and we do expect an Oracle, but let's find out. Phoenix. Adept popping just in time. This is why you build a third Adept. If you want to send 2 across the map, very dangerous to not have that third gateway unit pop out. But clean, calm, in control. Now, Clem, did he see the Stargate? Yeah, he saw the Phoenix play as well, so as Clem, you really don't want to go for the Widow Mine drop in this scenario. Because his medevac was so far along, he's going to let it finish, but going for a Widow Mine drop versus a Phoenix player is essentially playing into their hands. Phoenix are one of the best control units in the game. They're very good at picking things up, shutting them down before they can do anything, but they're not going to scale well into big fights. So against a Phoenix player, you like to threaten, but you don't really want to commit to anything, because anytime you commit, you're not getting any units home. It's going to be a very inefficient fight for you, especially with early game harass. And that's why one of the big weaknesses of Phoenix play is a Terran who just says, oh, you're going Phoenix? And just goes straight up to stim. It gets a Cyclone or a Viking out to defend, but then just goes stim, shields, 3 barracks, does a big bio mine push, and often it's very hard for the Phoenix player to get up any units that can defend it, because the Phoenix are just so trash in the frontal engagement. That's why, of course, MaxPax is going to play Phoenix Colossus this time around. He's going to go Robo very quickly, straight up to the 4 gases here, as quick as can be. Clem sees this. He knows it's Phoenix Colossus. It's a very defensive style. Oh, nice Widow Mine placement. He's got a Viking, a Cyclone there. Not taking any damage so far. Neither side has lost a single unit. Very clean early game. Remember, guys, while Korea out there is about bringing out the new wild, crazy build to surprise your opponent, catch them off, and keep them always guessing it on their toes, Europe is basically the constant quest for perfection. It's players who just want to slowly refine things until it's just exactly the way they want it to be every single game with 100% consistency. Some call it a pipe dream, myself included, but of course there are exceptions to the rule. Cyril in 2018 being one of them, a player who basically redefined what it meant to play defensive StarCraft properly. Up to that point, the European style of just defend, the results made it look like it was simply an inferior way of playing StarCraft, right? The Koreans were always so much better. The Europeans were like, oh, this is a gamble. The Koreans are just gambling. But the results, I mean, they spoke for themselves. Yes, the Koreans were playing more highly variable strategies, but they were simply doing it better and more consistently. And that is, of course, an issue. The Reaper does go in, get surrounded, doesn't get any probe kills, sees that Phoenix is still building. MaxPax. Oh, careful. Careful, Maximus. Does take a bit of a tickle on the Phoenix. Third command center did actually start at 5 minutes, so Clem's willing to play a macro game here. Clem is at his scariest when he's on the Protoss side of the map, just running around just outside their territory, constantly threatening. And Phoenix Colossus doesn't let him do that. Historically, Clem has been incredibly weak versus Phoenix Colossus, and oh no! Here comes a big pickup! He goes for the Marines, the Cyclone. If he could get the Viking as well, that would be big. Oh, the Widowmine does get a nice, juicy hit off. I think that was 2 Phoenix went down. No, only 1 for 2 Marines and a Cyclone and a Viking. Yes, they are damaged, they are bruised, but they'll regenerate their shields, and I think that was a worthwhile move for Mr. MaxPax. First Colossus is on the way, along with range. He's got shield batteries at every base. I guess the main base didn't have one till now, but he's going to build it there in case he does get dropped and needs to be fighting in this area. Spotting pylons on the sides of the map. And of course, this one pervy boy, he's just having a bit of a throb there above the production. Sees the move out. The Phoenix come in, pick up that Widowmine. I would unsiege that Observer and get it out of there, because the fact that you picked a Widowmine up out of the ground tells your opponent that you have an Observer and detection there. Widowmine goes down, popping out of the production as well. Very nice pickoffs. Ooh, the Observer did not move back far enough. He should have sieged it much further back, knowing that Clem was alerted to its appearance there. Clem, what are we doing, buddy? Clem just not splitting his Marines right now. He's taking damage, man. And MaxPax is just toying with him with these Phoenix. I've been here before. This is what my games like versus MaxPax look like when I play TvP versus him. In terms of, like, the Phoenix seem like they get unlimited damage, but this is not what normally happens with Clem. Ever since he lost that Cyclone Viking, I think he may have blown a fuse a little bit. The unit's lost tab looking very bad for him. He's got to make sure he gets across this map and starts threatening soon, while taking a 4th base, getting a 2nd starport, and he needs to grow the Viking count. He desperately needs to grow that Viking count, and he's building a lot of Widow Mines right now. Those can help against the Zealots and the Phoenix if they land, but if MaxPax is super technical and clean, he's not going to let the Widow Mines land. He's just going to pick them up out of the ground or fight where they aren't. And that's why Widow Mines, of course, are a bit of a dicey investment in this scenario. Notice charge. Mass gateway coming in, though. 8 gateways going down all at once. MaxPax is building 8 gateways right now, guys. He's going 10 gates. Templar Archive. So he's going to go charge Archon. And I really think MaxPax wants to commit to a timing. Even though he's got a 4th, 3 more probes building, it's too tempting. When you've done this much damage and the Terran's just sitting there with no vision, no information, I mean, what? You can't resist. As MaxPax right now, it's so powerful to just go for a giant Colossus Zealot Archon. You got 3 Colossus, you've got a Warp Prism coming out, +1 attack, charge are going to finish, you're going to warp in a bunch of Archons on the front line. Yeah, this is just, I mean, it's a custom-made timing. It is beautifully made to slay a Terran who doesn't have a lot of Vikings. He's got 2 Vikings, you need at least 8. With this many Phoenix in the air and 3 Colossus out, oh, okay, good, that's good for Clem. Damages the Phoenix, gets one of them down. Zealot's getting ready for a run by on the left side. Prism going down there as well. 2nd Forge is on the way. And remember, I mean, MaxPax doesn't need to go for a kill timing because he's actually got the 4th. He's got the double upgrades coming and all that sort of stuff. He's got a good economy. The thing is, Clem looks like he wants to push into him, and he's got to be very, very cautious. If there's one thing that Clem doesn't like doing, it's defending. Clem likes to click with his mouse. That's what he, yep, his mouse. That's what he calls it. And he does like to get very aggressive. He doesn't like sitting back defensive, especially when he's being trapped in his side of the map for so long. He has so little vision, so little info. Zealots in the 3rd, Zealots in the main. The Prism's going to get out of there from the Vikings as well. Very nicely done. MaxPax is now parading through the middle of the map. He's getting ready to come here. The Zealots on the 3rd still have not been cleaned up. It looks like a total of 8 SCVs have gone down now this game, so not the best trade, but he's going to start breaking those rocks. Where is that Warp Prism? Did it survive? No, it looks like the Vikings did manage to catch it in the end. Blinkers on the way, more Archons and a Warp Prism building. Oh, MaxPax looking to push forward. He's got some force fields left over, but he doesn't want to get too over eager here. Also, oh, there we go. Does clean up one of those Widow Mines with a bit of friendly fire. Oh, the Phoenix are very damaged right now. The EMPs were really brutal. Those Phoenix cannot shoot ground units. The Colossus getting some good hits off, though, and with some Archons and Immortals still underneath. Very hard for Clem to chase that down. Zealots on the right side clean up the SCV on the 4th command center. Clem does not have the Viking count he needs. These Colossus are utilizing that 9 range. Notice how he moves in, shoots, moves back, shoots. The Zealots working their way in the back of the natural. The Widow Mine friendly fire does some damage. Good positioning there by Clem, even landing Vikings. The command set is about to go down. He has to fight. That's a lot of Marines getting big old Colossus lasers on their face. And MaxPax shuts it down with a very decisive game 1. Clem unable to leave his corner of the map for the whole game. Oh, right. That's a very nice game game one there for MaxPax. He's going to go for a gate into a sniper, going to an expand with a probe scout. He does this every single game. Talk about Mr. Consistency, MaxPax. Sorry, guys. Bad camera work there. I really do feel like he's just kind of wanting everything to be exactly the same in his early game until he gets it to an elite level of comfort with every single reaction, knowledge down to the second with this build order. And you know what? Clem's going for an expand on Cosmic Sapphire. He gets to block it here. Clem really should have just built this command center off center. Oh, this is a huge delay, man. That's a 10-second delay on the command center. And, I mean, yeah, if I'm MaxPax, even though it's a big map, I might chrono an Adept across here. Because if he doesn't build a bunker, I actually think this Adept gets across before the command center is finished. So maybe not, actually. Cosmic Sapphire is a pretty big map. We'll see if he goes for it. It is going to be a Reaper into a Marine, Factory, and then a second gas will go down. So... pretty standard opening for Clem. He's going to once again... So Clem's specialty, guys, is he likes to place his buildings where if you walk up to the ramp, you can see what tech he's gone for. This is something I've criticized Clem for over a year now, and he's never fixed it. To be fair, Maru and a lot of the other Terrans also believe in doing the same thing. If there's one race that basically just does their build without thinking about denying information, unless they're doing a cheese, it's Terran. This is actually like a big tell at pro level, because the one time a Terran actually appears to be hiding what they're doing, you immediately know they're doing something very cheeky. Whenever they're playing standard, Terrans might as well hand all the information in the game to you on a platter, and they just don't care. And I think it's something that's... I'm kind of saying it jokingly, but I am like, hey guys, you know you could build that factory just over here, or a bit further to the right, and they can't see it. Oh, okay. Adept comes in. Command Center SCV does go down. That delays it. Reaper comes in. Clem's going to see if he can get some damage. I mean, the Adept kills an SCV, but because it doesn't delay the Command Center, it's nowhere near as big. If you delay the Command Center, it's much worse. There is a 3-gate build coming in. Does he realize? Oh, he sees the second gateway. Okay, that's very important. Clem needs to be building more units right now. He could build Hellions, but if I were him, I'd go Tech Lab, and I'd start building a Seiju Tanku right here, because you've got a 3-gate pressure coming in. He sees 2 gateways here and no tech, and that already is a pretty big sign. How many Reapers? He got 2 probes with the Reaper, cleans up the Adept, preparing the Hellion. And it is going to be Adepts. Okay, I wasn't sure he'd go for the Adepts, but I don't know if the Adepts will work out. It's enough to one-shot Marines. Clem's got a Siege Tank on the way, as we said. This is kind of like the parting build, but it hits quite a little bit later because it's a 2-gas build. So it's not as transparent as the old parting build. SCVs are pulled. Ooh, oh, okay. Now that the Adepts lost their lethality, that was very good. And this doesn't look great for MaxPax, I got to be honest. 3 Stalkers coming in. By the time he goes for a bust on the bunker, the Siege Tank will be out. There's also a Raven, which can just go straight across the map and harass. The Twilight Council hasn't finished. The big problem with this build for Protoss is even though your economy is good, your tech sucks. And oh my god, Clem! Clem not in his bunker right now. What are you doing, Clem? Clem, get those SCVs out of there. He should not be trading SCVs. There's no need to be losing SCVs. A big mistake for Clem, in my opinion, throwing those Marines away. He's not going to take critical damage, I don't think, anyway. Should be fine, but definitely interesting to see. Now, MaxPax kind of stuck in a corner. If I were him, I'd probably recall, but he's going to keep going, man. He's just going to dive like a psycho. But there's no way that tank goes down. Adept's trying to get in the main. Oh, Adept's getting the main. The SCV was standing on the door. Another SCV chases out the natural. This is very frustrating for him. An auto turret had to get placed on the natural as well. And MaxPax making the best of a bad situation. Clem giving him the opportunities, though. We have to be critical of Clem in this scenario. He knows this should have been a cleaner defense with how good his Reaper scouting was. This is a situation where MaxPax, when he was scouted, he would have felt his heart sink and said, oh god, there's no way this is going to work now, but I've still got to commit because I've already put all this money into these gateways. And now it's a bit different here. Okay, Hellion's going to go out, gets shot down by those Stalkers. Blink's almost done, Robo's almost done. 4 gas. He can take a third, start Colossus production. Clem is on 35 SCVs. So he's down 8 workers. He doesn't have an economy lead, doesn't have a reactor on the starport yet. Oh man, if that Raven had been auto turret harassing, anything to do a bit of an interruption to MaxPax's economy would be huge. But instead, MaxPax is untouched right now. And he's just looking so darned comfortable. Robo Bay is going to go down. Okay, Robo Bay is a little bit later than I thought. He's building some Stalkers. He's thinking, oh yeah, there's going to be Raven harass. Better be careful about that. But no third command center for Clem. And I got to say, MaxPax, yeah, I'm amazed that he actually killed 9 SCVs and all that. Oh, the tank's way too far back. Oh no, the bunker's going to go down. That means the depot will go down as well, because the tank doesn't actually defend that. He's going to have to move that tank forward, is Clem. Of course, a little bit paranoid about the Adepts from earlier in the game, which is why he did it there. Now, can Stalkers blink from there to there? Does anyone know? I feel like they should be able to. Going to blink in the main now. That tank is in a terrible position. The middle tank is good, but this tank should be behind the starport. Lately, Clem, especially in like WTL, he had some really bad tank positioning versus Firefly due to his factory blocking his siege tanks. He's been struggling against these blink pressure builds. Clem caught with his pants down yet again. I do feel like there's a bit of frustration. Remember, he's a fiery young lad, is Clem. And that's really good. It gives him the fire to fight like a beast, sometimes making amazing comebacks for Serral and that sort of stuff. And then other times getting really, really angry. And I think these Stalkers have been getting way more damage than they should have. Now, that being said, it's starting to take a lot of damage. I think it should be over by now. Third command center is on the way in the main, but hey, more Marines getting picked off. MaxPax is just so active. That third base, he's ended up going for the triangle third. And you can see now he's got charge almost finished. Is that his first Colossus? Yeah, first Colossus is on the way. He's getting Viagra for it. Hasn't started +1. There we go. Does start that one up. And the Prism comes in. Stalker drop in the main. That sticking out like a sore thumb. I'm still wondering about this siege tank positioning on the cliff and the fact that he didn't just tuck it behind the starport. Another SCV building the depot as well. These are the annoying SCVs to lose, the ones that are building things. Feels like MaxPax just has control over the game, and I've got to say, this sort of game, just in a general setting, if I see a Terran player who I'm kind of, you know, if that's me, or if I'm kind of coaching the Terran or on their side and kind of helping them strategize, if I look at games going like this, I always say, okay, you need to find a way to keep some pressure on the Protoss side of the map. You cannot let, in PvT, a Protoss have this sort of map vision. And finally, the Raven gets across, but I think it might be too late. Good focus fire, though. Really good focus fire, actually. He does get 6 kills with the Raven, but that's very late in the game. He needs 1 or 2 more attacks like that. It's a bit of harassment. MaxPax almost getting the third command center. Marauders and Marines do come forward. Marauders smash Stalkers. These 6 Marines are going to try and get that red hit point Stalker, but they pull back. Don't want to get too far out there. This Observer for MaxPax sees everything. Clem has no vision, and oh my god, MaxPax is all over him right now. God damn. It's like Protoss mosquitoes in here, man. Just going in from the left, the right, the center, every single which way. Getting too many pickoffs. And that unit's lost tab tells us the story, because I've seen Clem be way more efficient than the Protoss in many games, but in this game he's down 10 workers. Protoss is going to take a 4th base, and things are looking very frustrating for him. The Raven's going to come in for another auto turret harass, but there's a shield battery nearby, so I don't think that'll do too much. The Prism is still being a bit of a cheeky dickhead in the back. Surprised there hasn't been a Viking built yet. How many medevacs has he got? He's got 5 medevacs. Yeah, there we go. A Viking is finally starting up. MaxPax wants to shave him off at the front. This tank should move from here. I think Clem's completely forgotten he ever put this tank here. He really should move that to the front. 2 tanks can help versus the Colossus, but oh no, he's going to stumble into this army. Careful, Clem. Clem, I think he found the gateway, wanted to go deal with it, but he loses a bunch of Marauders. Oh, those are expensive units, man. Widowmine's coming forward. He's going to try and get down there. 1 siege tank will siege up. Observer still sees everything. Oh no! He's going to go for a Doom Drop in Observer vision. The Colossus of the Zealots, the Stalkers come forward. The Widowmines don't get to shoot. Oh no! Mass Zealot warp in the main at the same time. And Clem here, desperate to get out of his corner of the map. And right when Maru would have done nothing but turtle up, that is when Clem gets over eager and tries to just jam it in there. And he has to GG out. This is exactly what I was talking about, because when you're trapped in your corner, Protoss sees everything. Protoss just picking away, shaving off units for free. You can see that Clem gets like really antsy and says, screw it. And at some point he gets frustrated, just grabs his army, tries to fly across the map. But MaxPax already had him completely contained. He needed to sneak something like a stim drop out there. Just 1 or 2 medevacs earlier. I think Clem took way too long to do that. And I think this all kind of comes back a little bit to that first gateway timing when the auto turret went down in the natural. I think here, he's in a good position as Clem. Tank sieging up, this is great. He's completely covered. Just run the SCVs away and just use them to repair the siege tank if needed. But remember, he already threw away a bunch of Marines. That the bunker could have been full shooting this whole time. Lets the Adepts inside his main and drops an auto turret there. That Raven should be doing nothing but going across the map, because every auto turret you drop in the Protoss mineral lane is huge. It is the most efficient way to just drain the Protoss income. Instead, he uses it defensively, doesn't really achieve anything. And these Adepts, which are not useful units later in the game, get a whole bunch of extra SCV kills. I think MaxPax getting that damage was big. I think Clem needed to keep his wall off up, needed to keep his Marines in the bunker, and pull the SCVs away, send the Raven across the map. That's vital. And I know this because guess what? We were talking about Beyond beating MaxPax recently. It's almost always off the back of a Raven killing a ton of his probes and constantly backstabbing him. So whenever MaxPax tries to get him stuck in his corner, Beyond's Raven appears and drops an auto turret and ruins MaxPax's day. So I do think Clem missed that opportunity and got a little bit too defensive here. Up 2-0, once again going for the exact same build order, Gate Scout that he always goes for, Psystorm Gaming's MaxPax, but that is about as close as a proxy barracks can possibly ever be. Clem on Waterfall going hyper aggressive here. You know, lately I've been experimenting with Beyond's Dirty Marauder Hellion build, where he opens with a Proxy Reaper and then does a sneaky sneak. But this is looking more like a classic one. Is he going to try and block this Nexus, or does he try to just bunker it after it goes up? He's coming in. He's coming in. Clem coming in there with the SCV. Wants to block that Nexus going. Oh, he's even going to commit to the eBay. Okay. MaxPax is like, all right, buddy. I know I've got to build a shield battery down here. Luckily, he was already building a Zealot. A lot of Protoss players will build a Zealot, and then they'll cancel that Zealot to get the minerals to put the Nexus down. But if there's an SCV or an eBay, they let the Zealot finish. Helps them clean up the eBay, and they can continue with their build. MaxPax, no second gas yet, though, interestingly. Just building more probes. He's going to probably go for his Stalker soon. These two probes are in the open, though. Clem has lured them down there. eBay does get cancelled, though. Oh, that eBay was not that weak. I don't think Clem needed to cancel that. Maybe a little bit thrown off from these last two games. Oh, and he leaves that probe alive. The Adept's not out for 15 seconds. He could have gone in and killed two more probes, guys. At least two more probes. MaxPax just got given a freebie. Oh, Clem, get in there, mate. There's so much damage you could do, but now the Adept's out. So now that's not the case. Stalker's getting chrono boosted as well. Clem missing a golden opportunity. And looks like the Zealot's going across the map. Reapers will catch it on the way back, though. That's good for Clem. Just get a nice free Zealot kill here. Doesn't really take much micro or anything. Just do a little bit of a dancey dance. Oh, actually, the Adept's out here. Clem playing very cautiously. This is not the Clem I'm used to. Clem's Reapers are normally a fearless bunch of naughty boys, but these guys do look a little bit more afraid. Second gate's on the way. That third gate as well. So MaxPax is doing this this hero style. Sorry, hero started doing. I want to call it parting style because it's kind of like a modern hero style, where parting used to do it with only one gas. And even though you only need one gas to do this, the problem is the one gas style is just too transparent. Where people are like, well, you're only on one gas, you must be three gating. Whereas with this build, they need to actually scout the gateways. Now, it does seem like he scouted one extra gate. He's coming in. He's going to get some damage. The Stalker's not in position right now. Oh, careful. He tried to bait out the... MaxPax tried to just bait that out, the Widowmine shot, but he wasn't able to because he was too busy microing at home. He's lost 5 probes. It's a very good start for Clem now. So, as much as I was criticizing Clem for missing the opportunity on the first Reaper, the next 2 Reapers have got the damage. It doesn't even matter, man. Widowmine's doing the damage. Now, of course, this is played on the balance patch, for those who don't know, by the way. Something I should be pointing out. I actually have forgotten to mention that in this series. I say forgot to mention, I actually forgot it. Because this is this week's EU Cup, which is the first weekly cup where they've swapped to the new balance, even before the patch is actually confirmed and out. So the Ravens are a little bit different. They do build a bit faster. And that means that auto turret was even more energy that he wasted in that last game, unfortunately. Widowmine drop going across the map. Stalkers trying to fall back here. The Zealot and the Adept are being a bit of a nuisance. The Reapers are going to have to come back. Now, 2 Clem Reapers could potentially beat an Adept, but easier said than done. Oh, with the Marine out, it should... What? What? Rewind. Oh, the old Stalker intercept. Oh, I used to do this in like 2019. The last time I was really good at PvT was 2019. I say really good for me. And I used to do this move every game where you'd send a Stalker out on a likely medevac path because if you intercept it, you could get a ton of damage on it. Oh, this is such a good move. And then he literally scares its boost into the other 3 Stalkers. He loses the medevac with the 2 Widowmines in it while microing it home. Oh, no. Absolute dominance. Loses 5 probes, caught with his pants down, and MaxPax still dominates the game. And that was a risky move. Because if that medevac changed angles drastically, didn't get run into by the Stalker, if his 4 Stalkers are out on the map over here and the Widowmine drop comes in, obviously it's very annoying to deal with. So he'll lose a massive amount of mining time. But MaxPax goes for a slight gamba there, a little bit of a gamba, keeps his opponent busy with the Zealot Adapt, sets up for it. Clem taps out. Now that is definitely... I mean, I was saying, is he a little bit frustrated? I think we just got the confirmation. He was more than a little frustrated. He was straight up pissed off at how this game was going. And I'll tell you why. It's because it does not feel good to play that last game. This is not even this game's problem. This is all from the previous game. We could see it with his early Reaper. He was so afraid with his first Reaper in there for no good reason, right? He was really paranoid that he's like, the Adept's gonna pop out. I don't want to lose the Adept. And this all comes to the previous game. Basically, MaxPax managed to just keep him pinned in his corner, and Terran players hate being pinned in their corner, man. A Terran player, especially one like Clem, who's so good when he's attacking, he looks like a completely different beast when he's on the defense. We've seen Dark was the guy that initially beat his, I think he had a 45 series winning streak in Zerg vs. Terran in 2020 or 2021, whichever year that was. And it was Dark who came along and just backstabbed him to death. And every time he moved out, Ling Bane ran into his mineral line and killed all of his workers. And it just felt like Clem never got to play his game. And that's kind of what happened in this series, where even here, where Clem's trying to put the aggression on him, he's like, cool, I can put the aggression on you. I can send a medevac, drop across. He just missed opportunities, and MaxPax just hung on. Even though he ends up losing a lot of probes because, of course, the Stalker's out of position when these Reapers come back in. I gotta say, this is just excellent play by MaxPax, and it goes to show how dominant he has been in the last weeks of online play. I often only cast the best series, but the reason I picked this series is because I didn't know. I'd heard people say, bit of an early leave, bit of a rage quit at some point in this series. And I always am curious also to see when someone's dominating. So MaxPax won this weekly without dropping a single map. He's done this a few times recently. And I really wanted to show you that MaxPax is on another level right now. And I am really hoping he decides to come to his first LAN at Katowice. Because who knows? Maybe we'd have a player come to his first ever live tournament, show his face, reveal himself for the fans, and also win a world championship. That's the dream I'm hoping for. I know it's still a long shot, but let me know if you guys are excited. Do you think he could do it if he shows up? I think there's a chance. It is a long shot, I will not lie, but it would be so cool. It'd be such a story if he does it. So I'm super hyped for MaxPax and to follow him over the next weeks. Thanks for watching, guys. GG, well played.